Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Happy New Year. This is Lexus Sports Extra. I'm Josh Moser. The Dolphins coming to this Week 17 matchup in Baltimore, thinking about the 1 seed in the AFC and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. However, the Ravens, the hottest team in the NFL, coming in winners of 9 out of their last 10, and MVP favorite Lamar Jackson, 9-0 at home all time in December as a starter. Tua 2-0 against the Ravens in his career without NFL touchdown leader Raheem Moser or Jalen Waddle. Opening drive perfection. Tua time and the bullet to Cedric Wilson Jr. Dolphins jump out on top 7-0 4 minutes in. Next Miami drive, Fins 3rd and 10 inside the Ravens 10, and Tyreek Hill, no, can't corral it, so wide open. You never see the cheetah miss plays like this. A surefire touchdown turns into a field goal, 10-7 Miami. Ensuing Ravens possession, Xavier Howard hurt in the first quarter. Lamar to Odell Beckham Jr. Dolphins challenge, saying this is not a catch. However, replay confirms the explosive play. Vintage OBJ moment. Ravens would add a touchdown to lead 14-10. 3 minutes left in the half. Ravens' first offensive play after a Dolphins field goal. It is Zay Flowers, the cutback, and the SoFlo Pro doing work against his childhood team. It's a 75-yard tutty, longest of his career. 21-13 Baltimore. 2 minutes left. Tua and the Fins looking to respond. However, Tagovailoa never looks off Roquan Smith. Huge mistake, first turnover of the game. Tua getting picked off. Smith brings it all the way back inside Dolphins territory. Ravens 4th and 7. Go for it. The one-handed grab by Isaiah Likely. The dive to the pylon for the score. 4 first-half touchdowns for the Ravens. Baltimore up 28-13 at the break. Ravens ball to start the third. 1st and goal. It is Jackson to Likely again. 2nd touchdown of the game. It's 35-13 Ravens. And remember, the Fins had the 21-point fourth quarter comeback last year at M&T Bank Stadium. Zach Sealer coming up with the big play, forced fumble against the team that drafted him. Dolphins recover, but then Tua gives it right back. 2nd interception of the game, looking for Hill. Watch this, 4 Ravens defenders in the area. And Lamar Jackson finishes with a career-high 5 touchdowns and a perfect passer rating. Ravens win 56-19, clinching the #1 seed in the AFC, entering the final week of the regular season. The Dolphins devastated.
Probably, one of the worst games of my career. As a leader of this team, I can't put that on tape. So just got to erase it, got to move forward.
He's one of the guys that everyone looks to. I take full responsibility. It starts with me. I got to be better throughout the week, getting guys ready. I got to be better on game day.
The season's not over. We still have games to play, so this will be a good, big motivator for us going forward, and we're going to use this to come together as a team and really just work on our fundamentals and techniques and get back to Dolphin football.
We're right where we need to be as a team, regardless of the outcome of today, and we'll be better for it. And hopefully we get to see these guys again.
With a locker room like this, with those failed expectations, I know they're going to grow closer, not further apart. And that's important in this part of the year because, we'll have a division crown to play for next week.
NFL scores and highlights. Extra points.
To break down this contest, we welcome in our NFL insider, Drew Rosenhaus. Drew, we know this was going to be a tough matchup for the Dolphins going to Baltimore without 1,000-yard offensive players Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert. But how surprising is it that the Fins got beat this badly?
It's very surprising. The Dolphins have been competitive in every game. Even the games that they've lost have been hard-fought games, and this was uncharacteristic of this football team. I think it's a combination of things. The Ravens are just a spectacular football team, playing better than anyone in the NFL right now, and they were really rolling today. I think the Dolphins faced a juggernaut, and obviously the Dolphins didn't play up to their capabilities. The end result is what was a mismatch, and now the team has got to focus their attention on the Bills, and they can still accomplish a huge goal, which is to win the AFC East, which they haven't done in a long time.
We're going to talk about that Week 18 matchup coming up, but even worse than this loss today, Drew, team losing defensive Pro Bowlers Bradley Chubb and Xavier Howard. We don't know for how long, but Chubb most likely tearing his ACL. How detrimental is this going into the final week of the regular season?
Well, losing Chubb, which seems likely, unfortunately, based on the reports that are coming out, would be devastating. He's had an incredible year, and he's a great football player, and really the Dolphins, one of the best players on the team. So losing him is it's devastating, to say the least. Losing Xavier Howard would also be a big blow. Not sure the extent of his injury, so no point in speculating, but he certainly was missed as the game went on. And it was a tough day for the Dolphins secondary.
What's really interesting to me, Drew, the decision was made to keep the defensive starters on the field late in the fourth when they were down by 30 points. That's when Chubb got hurt. Why were they even on the field knowing what's in front of them?
I think that's a good question, and certainly that's something that Mike McDaniel and the coaching staff is going to have to answer. There'll be a lot of second guessing. The game was certainly out of reach, and you have to wonder why you would leave your top players in the game, because there's not much that can be gained at that point. So the second guessers are certainly going to hammer away at the Dolphin decision makers on this one.
Let's talk Ravens really quickly. To me, this was the MVP elimination game between Tua and Lamar Jackson. I think Jackson should now win the award. 2 interceptions for Tua on just 2 offensive touchdowns. Drew, what were the main reasons for his struggles?
It really was, it was probably his least impressive performance. Not probably, it certainly was. He just didn't look in sync. Might have missed Jalen Waddle today. They've got to give the Ravens a lot of credit. They have a ferocious defense and have some of the best defensive players in the game, and Roquan Smith and Justin Matabiki, the defensive tackle. I think it's a combination of those things.
All right, Drew, we've got to set up the Bills game. We're going to ask you to hang with us for a few minutes. Really appreciate the insight as always.
You bet.
The Dolphins on the road this week because the Orange Bowl at Hard Rock Stadium this weekend. And like many predicted, this was an absolute shellacking by Georgia over Florida State. The Seminoles hanging in early despite 30 players opting out of this game that helped them to an undefeated 13-0 regular season. Georgia would quickly blow this game open, taking a 25-3 lead in the second quarter. FSU finally falling by the final of 63-3.
As long as winning matters, we're going to compete like hell at Georgia, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's a culture on our place of work ethic that the job's not done. I think a lot of coaches relax at the end of the year, and they say, well, this game doesn't matter, or this game is not important. There's nothing that's not going to be important at our place. I think that standard has translated into, success.
The Canes also unsuccessful in their bowl bid, Miami falling to Rutgers in the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium. And like we've seen all season, the Canes' mistakes costing them in the worst way. Just a 7-win season in year 2 of Mario Cristobal's head coaching tenure, trying to put a positive spin on the final loss.
But gave ourselves a chance, just by battling, just by everybody doing their job. A lot of value in battling. If our team continues to grow in the sense of being more competitive, in the sense of always battling and just continue to improve on that, we'll be a good football team. We've got work to do.
Everybody at home, say hello to Manny Navarro. The Canes just probably happy this season is over. 7-6 on the year, Manny, following the bowl game loss. How much of a disappointment is this season?
Well, I think it's certainly not the way you wanted to see them finish, right? To go 7-6, only a 2-win improvement over the 2022 season. Not good enough. Certainly, I think Mario's going to be under some pressure next year to deliver at least 9 wins. He signed a terrific recruiting class, back-to-back top 10 recruiting classes. That hasn't been done at Miami since 2005.
The recruiting classes are great, but we're talking about talent versus experience. How much does that recruiting class matter when the transfer portal is active with much older, more experienced players?
You're absolutely right. You got to be able to find guys in the portal. Everybody has it. You look at these 4 playoff teams that are playing Monday night. They've all got transfers that have played key roles for them, some of them at quarterback. And, of course, Miami's looking for a quarterback. So that's a big deal. That's a big piece that Mario has to find in the transfer portal here. I think Cam Ward, there's a possibility that he can be the guy if he doesn't decide to go to the NFL. And so if they can land Ward, that would be huge for them. If not, they're going to have to pivot and find somebody else with some experience.
One player that we definitely know will be back next season for the Canes is first-team All-ACC receiver Xavier Restrepo. Why is this so important for the team, Manny?
Well, if you watch the bowl game, he was the one guy that was sort of consistent on offense for Miami and really was the one guy who was consistent all season for the Hurricanes in this offense. It's important. You need a little bit of leadership on every single team. You need a guy who's been around the block, been a part of the organization for a couple of years. Xavier is that guy, and I think that's why it's a big reason he's back.
He could chase a couple receiving records for Miami next season. Manny, I want to ask you about Florida State. How much does their loss to Georgia validate the College Football Playoff Committee's decision to leave them out of the top 4?
I don't know if it validates it. It's hard to validate it when you're missing 30 guys that helped you win that ACC championship and go 13-0. Look, I don't know that Florida State would have won or beaten any of the 4 teams in the semifinals, the 4 teams that made it. Florida State may not have won the national championship or even advanced, but those guys I thought did enough to at least earn a spot. And as embarrassing as the Orange Bowl loss was, I mean, you take 30 guys off of anybody's roster, they're going to look different.
Really tough to see. A lot of question marks now about them even staying in the ACC. We know about the lawsuit, Manny. What are you hearing from your end as far as what Florida State is planning to do in the future as far as the conference is considered?
Yeah, I think, look, they're trying to just make something happen for them in a positive way. When you look at the numbers and the difference between what the SEC and Big Ten schools are going to make financially in the next 10 years, the way this TV contract is set up, Florida State is just looking for a way to survive. You need to have more revenue to really have a chance to win a championship. And so I think all they're trying to do at this point is to get out of the contract with the ACC. Will they be successful? I'm not sure. And is it ultimately the smart decision? Only if you've got somewhere to go. The only chance that they've really got to go anywhere is the Big Ten. And the Big Ten is big on AAU accreditation. Florida State still isn't there as a university. They're trying to get there. Maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, maybe Florida State gets out of the ACC and gets into the Big Ten.
Manny, we appreciate you spending time with us, especially on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, my man. Best to you and your family. Thank you so much.
Happy New Year to you guys and to everyone watching.
Time now for Lexus SoFlo Pro.
South Florida stars shining all over the NFL gridiron today. Time to look at our Week 17 edition of SoFlo Pros. We start Soldier Field, Bears hosting the Falcons, and shout out American Heritage High, Khalil Herbert having a day. 124 rushing yards and the 6-point carry in the same game. So nice, we show you twice. Let's get to the second play from this game. Taylor Heineke looking for former FIU standout Jonnu Smith and underthrown to former Cane Tyreek Stevenson. 2 picks in this one for this year's second-round pick. Bears big winners, 37-17. More importantly, Chicago is now officially on the clock. A Panthers loss and the Cardinals win, giving the Bears the #1 pick in April's draft. A lot of options for general manager Ryan Pace. We'll keep you posted. It is time to take our first time out on Extra. When we return, Drew Rosenhaus is back. We set up next week's Dolphins-Bills game in primetime. The winner earning the AFC East crown.